You're listening to the official Minnesota Wild podcast, presented by Acrisure.
Just another perfect day at the Minnesota State Fair. Boy, are we lucky in 2025. I've been out here in years where it has not been nice like this for one day. They've all been like this. There's just a few more days to go. The State Fair has been great, and it's been great at the KFAN booth as well. Welcome to the Minnesota State Fair. My name is Kevin Falness. I'm in here for the next couple of hours and a chance to talk and reconnect with my good buddy Brett Blakemore at the KFAN studios. Brett, how you doing back there?
Hi, Kevin. I hope the food is great out there. I hope you have plenty of it. I wish people were handing me free food right now.
No, there's none of that. We got an opportunity to. I was tempting fate. I was nice enough from the program director to get a parking pass, and I thought, well, I've never used it. I might as well give it a shot. And? Awful decision. Awful. Every lot anywhere in the vicinity was absolutely jam-packed. So luckily we left in enough time, made it back to the U of M campus, jumped on one of those free buses with 50 million of my closest friends, and we made it here with about 15 minutes to spare. So I was tempting fate, but luckily we didn't try to drive around too much looking for parking. We got down here, and I even got a chance to catch the end of Fantasy Football Weekly. I'm so ready for the fantasy football season now, thanks to my buddy Paul Churchy and his other friends here at the KFAN booth. So it was good there, Brett. We made it in plenty of time.
Well, I'm happy you actually accounted for the show and accounted for traffic. That makes me feel better instead of it would have just been me basically talking Micah Parsons until you got here.
Well, exactly. So I saved the listeners from that. I'll tell you this much, though. I'm in gridlock traffic on Como, and in my head I'm thinking, they can go to a national program. They can go to Fox Sports, whatever. They can go back to the football game. I know the football game, we're joining it in progress at noon. That's what I thought was going to happen as I'm sitting there. But it ended up working fine. We got back on 94, and then it was really easy. And I don't think I'm telling anybody anything they don't already know. Use those free parking rides, man. It is so foolish to try to drive around down here. It worked like a charm, and we were going to do that in the first place. Ended up doing it, but regardless, perfect day down at the fair. I know you've spent a lot of time here over the course of the last week and a half, 2 weeks. Do you miss it? Do you wish you were here today?
I wish I was there with you right now. It'd be making this show a lot more fun for me. But, you know, I miss the food as well, but I don't miss what you talked about. Now, I did just get an alert that you probably just got your parking pass revoked for next year, so by ripping it. So good job on you there.
No, I'm not ripping it. It's actually
it's useless is what you said.
No, it's very generous, but I would say, in the future, I don't think I would even accept it. It's so easy to use that parking ride that it just makes more sense. So, whatever, it's fine. The beauty of this station and this stage is you get an opportunity to talk a lot of football, and they did it for the last couple of hours, did it for the last few hours. It was Sinekin and Tucker as well, and we know football season is here. Gopher started with a win on Thursday. Vikings will try and do the same in Chicago a week from Monday, and obviously for you football fans, there's lots to be excited about. J.J. McCarthy under center, the return of Adam Thielen, Drake Lindsey, the second coming of Adam Weber, Skol and Gopher Nation at a fever pitch, but I tell you, fan listeners and Brett Blakemore, while all of that is awesome, and almost any time you turn on this station, you're going to get all football all the time. But no, not for the next 2 hours, not if I have anything to say about it. Once again, it's my civic duty to remind you, this is not the state of football. It's not the state of gridiron. This is the state of hockey. And while we're loving everything about Skol Chance, scoring touchdowns, fumble rooskies, choreographed celebrations in the end zone, all that is awesome. All that is fine and good. It's so much fun. We get a chance to smell the grass and get under those Teflon roofs. But once again, I'm here to tell you and remind you, this is the state of scoring goals. The state of piling up apples, the state of swinging our legs over the boards, the state of top corner snipes, the state of taking our knocks in the penalty box. It's my friendly reminder that this is the state of hockey. I feel it's our duty on an annual basis, Brett Blakemore, to remind people that as much as we love our football, and it's such a great sport, we love our baseball, maybe not this year as much, we love our basketball. That's the state of hockey, right?
It's the state of flow. The state of great hair.
Flow, the state of cutting snipes, 90-degree turn, stepping over the blue line and going top shelf, baby. To that end, and again, I'm not taking anything away from the football fans out there. Enjoy your football. There's great football on today. There's great football leading into NFL week number 1. But we're here to remind you about the state of hockey. And to that end, we got a lot of tickets. We're giving away wild tickets today, including to opening night. And you don't have to do anything. This is going to be really simple. My preference would be to do it on site. If you want to win a pair of tickets, all you got to do is come up here, and I've got my Sweet Martha's cookies bucket all filled with little tags here. And you're going to grab one, and it's a game we like to call or earn it. You stick your grubby little hand into that bucket and you pull out a ticket. You're going to have two options. You're either going to just win a pair of tickets to either the home opener on October 11th against Columbus or Game 2 against the LA Kings on October 13th. There's a chance you won't have to do anything. You just fill out your name on that little piece of paper. I'll transfer you a pair of tickets. There's also a chance you will have to do something, but it ain't hard. I'm not having you do cartwheels. I'm not having you go down the giant slide backwards or anything like that. Real easy tasks on there. I'm giving away about half a dozen sets of tickets between now and 2 o'clock. So if you want to get involved in that, it couldn't be any easier. We'll give you an opportunity to do that as the day wears on. We've also got some cool guests coming along. Chris Barrier from the Wild Marketing Department is going to tell us about the 25th season of Minnesota Wild Hockey. It's here. I can't believe it. Started back in the year 2000. Some of you weren't even around at that time. I was, as far as on this earth and with the organization. What do you remember about 25 years of hockey with the Minnesota Wild? We're going to get into some of that with Chris Barrier and some of the things that the Minnesota Wild organization are going to celebrate this coming season. A quarter century of Wild hockey. There's folks out there that never knew anything about the Minnesota North Stars. Yeah, are you one of them? Well, regardless, from 2000 until present day, it's all been about the Minnesota Wild when it comes to the National Hockey League, and we're going to get a chance to celebrate some of that. One of the new old guys, Nico Sturm, he's going to swing by the booth here around 1 o'clock, and we'll talk about his path back to the Minnesota Wild after spending a few years here not all that long ago. Went off and had an opportunity to win not one but 2 Stanley Cups with both the Colorado Avalanche and the Florida Panthers. Now he's bringing that back here to Minnesota to win some faceoffs, kill some penalties, and hopefully they'll help the Wild pull up some victories over the course of the year 2025-2026 season. Plus, of course, my good buddy Pat Micheletti. What would a show surrounding hockey be without Pat Micheletti? He'll join right about 1:35. So a great opportunity to talk some puck in the middle of everything going on in football. And I know that that's tough to swallow, but I promise you already had a bunch of football already. You're going to get back to football after these 2 hours. And I guarantee you just about any time you turn on this station between now and October or something, you'll get plenty of football coming your way. But not for these next 2 hours. We're going to talk a little hockey. I know you're excited. That's one of your passions, Brett, along with soccer and the Green Bay Packers and what Jordan Love had for breakfast. You, too, are a big-time hockey fan.
Well, I've really addressed all of those things, especially the cereal that was had. But, no, the Wild, to me, are my favorite team in all of sport. I've said that for a while, and I want them to succeed more than any of my teams just because I think it would mean the most, because we are the state of hockey. That's what we were talking about, Kev. And I think that parade would hit different more than anything for me.
After all, we are the state the state of hockey. What do you think about the current lot of life here for your Minnesota Wild team? They're coming off a year where they did make the playoffs. They are out of salary cap hell. They got an opportunity to regroup and reload in the offseason, maybe not to the extent that anyone would have hoped for, but there's some pieces to be excited about, mostly the young guys like a Rossi, a Urov, an Ogren, a Volstad taking another step forward. Plus, you get the opportunity to see Nico Sturm back in a Wild uniform. I know it's not the most sexiest of positions, middle of the fourth line, but I think he's going to serve a very valuable role for this team in the upcoming year.
No, I completely agree. We were convinced and assured that as soon as the cap penalties were over, it would be Christmas and Halloween and Easter and everything combined all into one great holiday, and then you go to the store to shop and the shelves are empty and there's completely nothing there. So it is frustrating, but I do think Sturm's a good bottom six. I don't neglect the bottom six pickups, and he even said himself like he's comfortable, I think on these airwaves, that he's comfortable in that role, and if that's where he's at, that's fine with him. So go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, after you.
I was just going to say, I mean, he did say that on these very airwaves. I did hear his press conference when he ended up coming back to the Minnesota Wild right around July 1st, and we'll get it from his very own mouth about 1 o'clock when he swings by the booth to talk about this upcoming Minnesota Wild season. But I think he needed to go away to realize how important that role can be to a team. For the average fan, they think of the fourth-line center. They think, okay, what's he going to do, 6 minutes of ice time? But no, he's not only your fourth-line center. He's a guy that can take important face-offs, and he's got an amazing face-off win percentage, something that he prides himself on. Plus, he can kill penalties. And if you talk about the two Achilles heels for this team for I don't even know how long, it feels like forever, killing penalties, winning face-offs, he's A+ in both of them.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, those are two. I mean, that and those two things and scoring goals in key moments. And I'm talking about in the playoffs. It seems like just the offense starts to dry up once we get into the playoffs. And obviously things get tighter. It's a different game. There are better competitions, yada, yada, yada. But I think the depth scoring and then the penalty killing and then, that type of thing would be my biggest issue with the Wild. And I think they addressed at least part of it.
How excited are you for Danila Urov?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm really excited. It didn't really sound like Bill Guerin was that. I mean, he's like, yeah, he's going to be good, but it's the same thing. I'm sure we're going to get into it. He's never been to North America before. He's never stepped foot on North American ice, and we've got to ease him into the NHL. And I just fear that what's going to happen is he's going to be put on the third or, God forbid, the fourth line, and they're going to go, well, he's not scoring very much. We don't know what's wrong, what's happening with him. I'm just a little concerned about it.
I know what you're saying, and I've heard you say this before. I mean, he hasn't even played in the prospects game yet. That's coming up here in the middle of September. Then you got training camp. Then you got preseason hockey. Can we let him play a preseason game before we put him on the top line? I mean, you want him to jump right onto that top line potentially with Kaprizov and Zuccarello. If you had your way, that's where you would put him?
I mean, if we're not putting Rossi there, I'd rather have him there than like a Hartman. I think Hartman is productive in other places in the lineup. I think if you want to give Urov the best chance to succeed, you put him with the best players.
You don't think Rossi's your number one center heading into camp?
I think he would be.
I think to me, you put Rossi with Zuccarello and Kaprizov, because Zuccarello and Kaprizov, quote unquote, peanut butter and jelly. Then you reestablish the Jules Eriksson Boldy tandem on the second line now with most likely Tarasenko, and I think you have the potential there for some fireworks in your top six. Now, again, that's a big caveat. What does Vladimir Tarasenko look like? Does he look like the guy that was thriving at the expense of the Wild not all that long ago? Or is it the guy that, was floundering, especially in Detroit last season, that, doesn't look like the same guy that used to beat up on the Minnesota Wild?
No, for me, Rossi is, and Tarasenko is a total wild card because we just don't know exactly what you said. But with Rossi, he's my top center. I mean, I think he's capable of that. It seems like I'm in the minority, basically with the fan base and with the organization, that they're not really buying it, that he's even a top six. I mean, just ask our good friend Pat Micheletti, who we'll have on the phone later in the show. He doesn't think he's a top six center at all. So for my money, he is, if not the top line center, especially on this team as it's constructed right now. But I just have yet to see it from Guerin or Hines that they really believe that he can be that guy. And I think even this Bridge deal is like, yeah, we think you're good. We think you're okay. But the second you show signs of maybe not being as productive, even though he was the second leading scorer on the team last year. I mean, Bill Guerin said it with Barrero the other day. He had a couple bad games, so we demoted him to the fourth line. I mean, you can't make it up. Well, I just have yet to see the commitment on their end.
Hartman played really well, but he did. I think all but 2 or 3 games last year, he was in your top 6. So I don't know that, because of the way things transpired in the playoffs, you got to think that he's just going on the trash heap. They need Marco Rossi to be a good player this year, and from all accounts, he looks fantastic coming into camp. So I'm excited for that. I'm also excited to be here at the Minnesota State Fair. If you're just joining us, we do have wild tickets to give away. It's a game that, Brett, we're calling so amazing here at KFAN. Great to have that little snippet on board.
Are those your kids that said that?
Don't worry about who it is.
Okay.
Paid professionals is all you need to know. It's a State Fair game designed to get you tickets to an upcoming Minnesota Wild game, and I don't know that you could ask for much more as we're making our way into the month of September, right there on the horizon. After training camp, after preseason, we're back for another season of Minnesota Wild hockey, and that includes for the home opener on October 11th against Columbus and October 13th against Los Angeles. Again, you don't have to do anything. You just come up here, tell me, hey, Falness, I want to win it or earn it, and I'll give you the opportunity to stick your grubby little paw into my Sweet Martha's cookie jar. You pull out a ticket, and you either win it or you have to earn it. But go ahead. Production quality. We'll get to some of that after a break. You can also text us 64686 if you want to break from your football discussion. And believe me, I know I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Football's very important. Everybody loves their football. But we're just taking another hour and 45 minutes out of your day to talk a little bit of hockey, get you ready for a new season of Minnesota Wild hockey with Micheletti. We'll even talk a little Golden Gopher hockey in the college scene and World Juniors coming here. Olympics on the horizon as well. Great time to take a break from the football, talk a little hockey, and do it right here at the State Fair. When we continue, though, Brett Blakemore's Breakaways on the Fan.
This is the Fan broadcasting live from the Minnesota State Fair.
Well, as mentioned, we've got a great lineup coming your way over the course of the next now almost an hour, 45 minutes. Chris Barrier from the Wild Marketing Department is going to stop by, give us kind of a teaser for year 25 of Minnesota Wild hockey. Hits the ice in October. We'll set the stage for that. Nico Sturm is going to be a central player in that lineup, and we will hear from him about 1 o'clock. He'll swing by the booth here at the KFAN studios in the Minnesota State Fair. Plus, as mentioned, Pat Micheletti will wrap things up later on in the show. But now it is my supreme... Man, I miss this. When Beyond the Pond isn't on the air in the middle of summer, this is what I miss the most. It's called Brett Blakemore's Breakaways.
It's time for Brett Blakemore's Breakaway.
Here's a break.
You missed the segment more or the open more?
All of it. I miss hearing your voice.
Okay.
Chance to talk about Jordan Love.
And now, Blakemore's Breakaway.
Micah Parsons. Sauerkraut. Horrible soccer. Sauerkraut, is that not the 1-1 with Milwaukee and
maybe
Wisconsin?
Yeah, not one of mine, but
okay.
Sure. Go ahead.
What do you got, Brett?
Micah, no, I'm just kidding. Bill Guerin, he was with Bump, and he had some interesting things to say. Obviously, the A topic of all A topics for your Minnesota Wild is the signing of Kirill Kaprizov and when it will get done, the extension, because it needs to get done, because he has a no-trade clause on this last year of his deal. So even if Kirill could theoretically say, don't really feel like re-signing with you, and there's nothing the Wild could do, he could just walk for free. So this has to get done, and it seems like the sense of urgency, I'm like, They are so confident that he loves Minnesota, and that's great. And by the way, that is what we like to hear, that he loves Minnesota, and he loves it here, and he loves the State Fair, and the cheese curds, and the mini donuts. He loves all of it. I love hearing that, too. But at some point, we got to have a little sense of urgency, like, let's get this is not the thing that you just let linger on and on as we get closer to training camp. And the thing that he said is like, well, people aren't going to like to hear this, but we've got lives. We've got things to do. I've got grilling to do and golfing to do. So we just push it off into later. I'm here to tell you, this is the biggest contract extension in Minnesota Wild history. It's the most important. Like, if that's not, like, drop everything you're doing and get this done, I don't know what is. So I was a little shaking my head, shrugging my shoulders, rolling my eyes, to quote Common Man.
I don't want to overstate it, but do you lose sleep over this? Since the season ended and we got to July 1st when officially a deal could be done until here we are on August 30th in the year of our Lord 2025. Have you lost sleep over this in the last few months?
Thankfully, I can report that I have not lost sleep, but it does bother me that it's not done.
I don't know that it bothers me. Now, we get into October and we start hitting the... I would like to see him in North America, and then at that point, I think things start rolling along. I think there is urgency behind it, but what do you want Bill Guerin to say? I mean, he comes on the radio, he's sitting face-to-face with Dan Barreiro. How should he address that? Yeah, we are extremely nervous. I mean, would that make you feel better to say, man, there's a sense of urgency here. If it doesn't get done in the next week, man, we are pulling the fire alarm and we are getting the bleep out of Dodge. That doesn't feel like that's the way I would want him to approach it. I listened to that interview, and especially that segment with Dan talking directly to Bill Guerin, and it's about what you'd expect to hear. I do have a sense of urgency, but I don't have a sense of panic. Now, if it comes to October 11th, when we're giving away these tickets to the Wild and Blue Jackets for the home opener, then we'll start ratcheting up the panic level. Right now, I don't feel a whole lot of panic. I think it will get done. I think he'll have one of the richest contracts in the history of the National Hockey League, and that'll be until Connor McDavid signs on the dotted line.
Yeah, I'm not so much panicking as like staying up late at night and wondering what the AAV is going to be. And but I am just, my rolling my eyes, shrugging my shoulders, shaking my head that it's just not. He doesn't have to say we're panicking. It's all over. Like, I don't want him to say that, but just a little yeah, we've been in contact with his agent and him, and we're working, as hard as we can to get something done. That would have been nice.
What did he say?
He just said, it takes time. We'll get to it when we get to it. It's like, I don't want to hear that.
He said 97 will be in town in North America here in September. What did he say? Did he give a date?
I don't think he gave a specific date. No, he said he knows when he'll be here, but he didn't give a date. I'm pretty sure.
I think, in my opinion, once they have an opportunity to sit down face-to-face, him, Kaprizov, the agent, I think it's just a matter of figuring out the term. I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to get a boatload of money, and I think that there's I think the odds are very much in Bill Guerin, the Minnesota Wild, and the state of hockey's favor that Kirill Kaprizov will be here. I just don't think there's any doubt. That's my 2 cents, but my panic level will definitely ratchet up a little bit if it becomes October 11th and there isn't a deal in place.
I don't want to see him skating on the Trier Rink ice until there is a contract extension. If it's not done before that, I don't know. Then I'll panic. Right now, I'm just annoyed.
I'm glad to hear you haven't lost any sleep.
No, I have not.
What's next?
I did want to mention the Rossi thing again. We kind of got into it the fourth line, and you said that Hartman played really well. But I wanted to bring one other point into that conversation, is that I don't know if it was a direct Hartman v. Rossi, because there were guys that were not playing very well in that playoff series that never got a demotion. You're talking Nyquist with the infamous offsides, but he wasn't very good before that either. Johansson was not very good. Goudreau, see you later, Goudreau. He wasn't very good. So there's all these guys that weren't having very good runs, and they never got punished for it. Yet Marco Rossi, a couple of bad games, and now he's down in the fourth line and ice time cut.
But you say that he did have a pretty good showing on that fourth line playing with Brazo.
Should have got more ice time then.
Well, I know. I also heard John Hines talking with PA. I heard Barreiro talking with Guerin, and the fact is they're trying to win a series. They can't be worried about feelings, and they just felt like that's where Rossi would fit best, and they had an opportunity because Hartman was playing some of his best hockey that he's ever played in a Minnesota Wild uniform. You elevate him, Rossi goes down and fills a gap in that fourth line, and I agree, though. There is a part of me that wonders why did Freddie Gaudreau not get demoted? Why was Gustav Nyquist given so much ice time? But it's neither here nor there. You move on, and I'm hoping that whatever bad feelings were there at the end of last season during that playoff run, that it's been washed aside. Because, again, you need Marco Rossi in a good headspace. He's got to be a formidable piece of this lineup, and he's got to be a contributor in that top six.
Completely agree. Let's talk Zeev, actually. We can move on from the Bill Guerin slightly ripping.
Zeev Booyah.
Zeev Booyah. Where do you think, Zeev, because the plug was pulled on him during the playoffs where they said, basically, we've seen enough, we're going to put John Merrill out there. Where do you think his leash is to start, and where do you think it should be?
I'm going to be interested to see what the defensive pairings are, but I think by all accounts, assuming that everything goes according to plan in preseason, in training camp, he's apparently the heir apparent to run your number one power play, which is huge on his shoulders, right? I mean, I think that'll be fantastic. If he gets an opportunity, I know you got to see a glimpse of it in the playoffs last year, but I think he's going to be the guy that if everything goes according to plan in training camp and in the preseason, that he's probably going to be running that top unit. That's it? No reaction to that?
No, I think I love him in the top unit, and I want to see Zeev unleashed. That's pretty much all I got. I agree.
Zeev Booyah.
Zeev.
How do you see the pairings going on? If you could do it your way, it's a little hairy coming into the year because you're not going to have Jonas Brodin for a handful of games, and I don't think there's anything written in stone how many games that'll be that he'll miss. So it's a little bit different. But you got Juracek as an option. You got Booyah now. You got Bogosian waiting in the wings, and then Jack Johnson signed to a professional tryout. You got some options there. Do you have a theory on how the top four at least are going to be culminated there or situated coming into the year? I mean,
to me, the top four is pretty locked in with Middleton, Faber, Booyah, Spurgeon. Take your pick on what the combinations are. But after that, it gets a little weird because you go Bogosian, who I literally watched with my own eyes play for the Atlanta Thrashers at one point. Do you go with Juracek, the guy you traded a first-round pick for? Do you go Carson Lambos or someone? There's a lot of options. But I think once Brodin comes in, you're probably going to – I would guess they're going to run with Bogosian and pick your other one here. I would like to see Juracek get more of a look because I thought he did flash a little bit when he was up, and then he got immediately sent back down to Iowa.
Complete aside, and I know you're not the biggest Zach Bogosian fan, but did you hear the clip on, I don't know how much you listen to Spit and Chicklets, but I do listen to that podcast, and they were talking a lot about the Fleury retirement party held by a bunch of his former teammates, and apparently Zach Bogosian stole the show. Like, he sings like a canary. It wasn't even just karaoke. He was getting up there and he was singing, and apparently he's got the voice of an angel. This guy that looks like he could be riding Harleys and probably does in his free time apparently just has a magical voice north of Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, I just think it's time for my yearly, because I don't like them as a hockey player does not mean I do not like them as a person disclaimer. Because a lot of these guys that I am not really a fan of their game, I know for a fact they're really great dudes and really fun to be around. So it sucks being in this job because you do have to separate them, but you have to keep that in mind as well. I think sometimes it's a little too valued in this organization, if I'm being honest. That being a good.
I hear you, dog. You got one more, or should we roll forward?
We can roll. Well, how about this? How great of a signing is Nico Sturm, Kevin Falness?
I'm excited for Nico Sturm. I'm especially excited because he's going to be, I think he's signing autographs at the Wild booth, which is 100 miles north that way. Then he's coming this way when he's done to talk to our audience, our studio audience here at the Great Minnesota Get Together. So I'm excited for Nico Sturm for a number of reasons, but especially since he's going to be in my face in about an hour and a half, and we'll get a chance to talk about the newest old guy for this Minnesota Wild team. Great job with the breakaways there, Brett. We might do this again here in a little bit.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be ready.
That is Brett Blakemore, and those are his breakaways during the hockey season. We do those on a little show called Beyond the Pond, 10 to noon, every Saturday morning right here on KFAN. We'll take a break, and then when we continue, we're going to talk about 25 years of Minnesota Wild hockey. How's that possible? We're going to talk about that with Chris Barrier next. Wild Marketing right here from the Great Minnesota Get Together at the State Fair. reminder, in 20 minutes, Wild centerman Nico Sturm will make his way over to the KFAN booth. My name is Kevin Falness, with you until about 2 o'clock, and then we'll send you out to the football game at the Shoe. I'm sure, Brett, at some point you can give an update on that. But in this day and age, really, I mean, everyone's carrying a phone. You don't have to give up. Back in the day when we were doing sports scores and commentary, you'd have to give scores because people couldn't find it on their own. Not anymore. Go look on your phone, ESPN.com or whatever. You can find out what the score of the game is out there in Columbus, but we will get you to that about 2 o'clock once we wrap up all this Sterling hockey conversation. My pleasure now to be joined by Chris Barrier from the Wild Marketing Department. Chris, first and foremost, please hold down your applause. Welcome to the KFAN booth here at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. Give us your exact title so I don't screw it up.
Sure. As far as I know it is Director of Brand Marketing and Content, and thank you for having me, Kevin. This is my KFAN debut, so I'm honored to be here. That's true. Yeah.
But you say you do come to the State Fair. Typically, it's because you're holding a camera, I bet, following the guys as they're doing their thing?
Yeah, it's true. You know what? I'm not sure if you're supposed to say this here, but I don't really like the State Fair very much.
Say that. No, we didn't say that.
I love a lot of the food. I hate lines. So I when I come to the State Fair, I got to be really strategic about how I do it, okay? I did have a bratwurst mit Sauerkraut before coming on here, and on of the Deutsche guest that is next, Nico Sturm. I'm honored to be his opening act to your headliner.
Awesome, yeah, and he will be here in a little bit. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Vermont, so I grew up on the East Coast, and it was hockey that brought me out to the Midwest in 2015.
2015. What have you been doing since 2015 before landing with the Wild?
So I came out here to work at a small local TV station in Rochester, Minnesota, KTTC TV. I was a local sports anchor there, and I did that for 2 years. And then I went and covered the Green Bay Packers for 2 years over at WGBA in Green Bay.
Music to Brett Blakemore's
Good
ears.
guy.
And, you know what? I hate to say it, but I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Had to come back to Minnesota. Not a Packers guy. But no, it was great. And then ever since I've been back in Minnesota, I've been working for the Wild, and it's been an absolute blast.
So if you told us your fancy title. What exactly, before we get into the meat and potatoes that is the 25th season of Minnesota Wild hockey and how we're celebrating a quarter century on the ice here in the great state of hockey, what does your job entail? What are some of the fun things you do, and what are some of the not so much fun things?
Yeah, no, I'm super lucky to just kind of have my pulse on a lot of everything that we do in the marketing department. So I oversee all of our video productions, all of our long-form content, Becoming Wild, Beyond Our Ice, all of that kind of stuff, as well as the daily content you would see on social, up on the video board. I also oversee all the graphic design, so any graphic elements, any printed material, anything on social media, anything outside the arena, and then really just kind of our brand messaging. So, what are we promoting? How are we talking about our team? What are we changing over the years? And, to come up on a milestone year like 25 is a challenge, but really exciting to have that role when you get to have a part in how we're going to celebrate 25 years of Wild hockey.
I can't believe it's 25 years. I was having this conversation with my 15-year-old, and he knows nothing other than Minnesota Wild hockey when it comes to the NHL in the state of hockey. I go back, because I'm really old, to the North Stars, and even before that, but watching Neil Brodin, Dino Cicerelli. He doesn't know anything about that other than what he sees on his old VHS tape, if he happens to be rolling around with Dad's VCR, or what he's read in books, or happen to look out online if you happen to see some grainy YouTube video. But the Minnesota Wild, 25 years of existence, I think it is something worth celebrating. How are the Wild going to do that for the state of hockey in this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think the motto we're tossing around internally, and this isn't a slogan by any means, but it's the way we've kind of approached it, is we want to celebrate the past, but we really want to embrace the future too, right? I mean, this fan base has been through a lot in 25 years, from losing a hockey team like the North Stars, like you said, to Bob Nagley bringing it back, to the 03 run that was magical, that left people getting a taste of that, but wanting so much more, and that's still what we're facing here today, right? So how do we celebrate all of that, but how do we also look forward to what's to come next in the next 25 years, and how do we create memories now that people are going to be talking about, hopefully at our 50th anniversary? So we've really dedicated 4 nights throughout the year that are going to be 25th anniversary themed nights. October 28th against Winnipeg, November 4th against Nashville, December 21st against Colorado, and January 24th on Hockey Day Minnesota against the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs, the Florida Panthers. So those 4 nights in particular, it's going to be all 25th takeaway, 25th branding, 25th in-arena activations. It's going to be an all-arena giveaway, some really exciting giveaway items. And then there's some really really cool surprises still yet to come that I can't talk fully about, but I think fans are going to be really excited. And towards the end of September, we're going to have some more news specifically around those 4 games in general.
Awesome. I know, and again, we don't have to talk about specifics, but I'm an old-school Minnesota Wild fan. There's folks that have jumped on the bandwagon the last, let's say, 10, 15 years even, but I go back to the beginning, and I've seen all the guys come and go from this organization. Sounds like, again, you don't have to talk about specifics, but it sounds like there's going to be alumni involved in this season-long celebration.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, years ago, when you're early in your franchise and you start doing alumni stuff, the Wild would rely on North Star's alumni. Well,
sure.
25 years is a long time. You said it yourself. This team has enough history and enough alumni built up now that we have different decades of Wild hockey to pull back from, and it's really exciting to think that we're going to bring back more alumni this year than we've done at least since I've been here.
Yeah.
And that's going to start on opening night. There's going to be some distinguished alumni who, if you're a fan since day one, that's when you're going to want to be at. So we're going to have some people out for that. And then for sure, all of these games and various games throughout the year, we're going to have different alumni back for meet and greet events, season ticket member exclusive events, as well as the chance to do Let's Play Hockey in Arena.
You mentioned those special games, the October 28th, the November 4th, December 21st, January 24th. I believe it's already been announced that those are going to be the bobblehead giveaway games.
Yep.
So who's being featured there? Because, again, you talk about alumni. I think this is a pretty cool salute.
Yeah, exactly. So again, if you want to, anybody can buy a ticket to that game and be a part of the experience. But if you buy the exclusive 25th anniversary ticket pack, well, then it'll come with a bobblehead as well, and that's pretty exciting. And we've announced that too. That's Marian Gaborik, Mikko Koivu, Jared Spurgeon, and Kirill Kaprizov. So 4, I'd say, pretty reputable Mount Rushmore names in the Wild franchise will be part of that bobblehead series.
So pretty good stuff. If you want more information, of course, just go to wild.com. Other ways to get involved, 651-222-WILD. You mentioned the stuff that you do behind the camera and leading the way there with some of those things like Beyond Our Ice, Becoming Wild. Amazing what you guys have been able to put together over the last X amount of years. How long have those shows been on?
So Beyond Our Ice will be entering its 7th season now, wow, which is crazy. And Becoming Wild's on a milestone, too. 15 years
Jeez.
Of the Becoming Wild show.
Yeah. That's crazy. And that takes you to all points of the world. It doesn't sound like you're traveling as much as you have in the past with those shows, but some of the features that are coming up here, whether it's via wild.com, the Wild YouTube channel, whatever.
That show is, personally given me life experiences that I'd never get anywhere else. I mean, we looked at it the other day. Since the beginning of the show, the Becoming Wild crew has traveled to over 11 different countries.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome. I mean, me personally, I've had the chance to hike the Austrian Alps with Marco Rossi. I've had a chance to Philip Gustafson's grandfather fed me smoked reindeer, which honestly would probably do well here at the State Fair. I had a little trouble not thinking about Rudolph eating that, but it was still delicious. So just things that you would never get to maybe do in everyday life, but to be a part of that show, go to these guys' hometowns, learn more not just about them as a hockey player, but who are they as a people, what made them what they are today. In 15 years of that show, it's pretty cool to be a part of. And this year alone, we've got a pretty awesome cast coming up. We've got 3 Russians episodes this year: Tarasenko, Yurov, and Trenyan. We'll feature Zeev Buyum, Ryan Hartman, head coach John Hines, which I'm really excited about. Get to learn more about him. And then a special on Iowa Wild when they play the outdoor game for Hockey Day Minnesota. And then
Hastings, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep. And then a really cool episode on it's called Feeding the Wild, learning more about the nutrition behind what feeds and fuels the Minnesota Wild. So
awesome.
It'll be a good year.
How do you find these programs? If you're a regular fan out there and you want to see, because you guys have a bunch in the vault and then you have a bunch coming up throughout the course of the season, where would you suggest they go?
Yeah, so Becoming Wild, Beyond Our Ice, and our Wild podcast, Wild on 7, they're all featured on FanDuel Sportsnet, so they'll all air there. And then the schedule hasn't been released for any of that yet, but once that's out, you see from our website or social channels when those episodes are going to drop. And then if you miss them on FanDuel, you can also watch them all exclusively on the Minnesota Wild YouTube channel.
Have you got used to calling it Grand Casino Arena yet?
Yeah, true story. I accidentally called it XL Energy Center on a call with the Grand Casino folks. That was that's a no-no. Yeah. But it's hard, right? I mean, 25 years with one name it's going to take a little bit of time, but I'll say this. I think that this is a super exciting time for a lot of different reasons for the franchise, but to have a new naming rights partner, too, is big for a couple different reasons. One, for the Grand Casino folks, they're owned and operated by the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe Native tribe, and just an awesome group of people who are really, really excited to kind of share their culture and share their community with the Wild. They have a lot of like-minded values that we do. And on the Wild side, from a business standpoint, this is a really lucrative deal, right? This is a good business deal, which is going to create opportunities. I know fans sometimes struggle with change, like everybody does, but I think if you look at the long-term opportunities of what this is going to bring, you shouldn't be anything but excited about a new naming rights partner for this building.
I'm excited for it. I'm nervous because on the broadcast for 25 years, 26 years, 25 seasons, whatever it is, going to every break, you're listening to Wild Hockey presented by XL Energy. Mm-hmm. Now it's going to be presented by Grand Casino Arena. There's going to be by Grand Casino. It's going to take some getting used to, because that used to be, you know how it is working in media. That's one of your fallbacks, just a throw-in line to get to the next break. I don't know how many times XL Energy is going to come from my face.
Okay, what you need is a swear jar.
Yeah,
if you have a swear jar, right, you're gonna rack up the money, and then it's going to teach you very quickly that it's Grand Casino Arena, or GCA for short.
GCA. Are we going with GCA? No longer the X.
I guess that's not approved. I don't know if that's allowed, but that's just what I said.
Grand Casino Arena. It's an exciting time, no doubt about it. I can't believe it's been 25 years for this franchise. And what excites you most about the upcoming season? It can be in your little myopic world, or big picture, what's going on with this franchise in particular.
Yeah, I mean, for sure excited about those 4 nights. I think we have a lot of, a lot of artillery pointed at those 4 nights to make them really awesome. But more than anything, I really am excited just that, and I think you've talked about this a lot too, Kevin, it does feel like a different team right now, right? This has been a transition. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about the whole cap situation and finally being over that hump, and I'm just excited to truly feel like we're turning a page to a new era. It's 25 years. It's a new naming right partner. You guys just talked about the signings and the Kaprizov situation, all that kind of stuff. I just see a lot of things kind of filling into place, and it's exciting to look at this team and say that since I've been here, since 2018, to me, it feels like new. It feels like a different vibe going into it, and I just want to see it unfold.
It guarantees nothing. I mean, the entire league is filled with monsters, and then the Western Conference, and then in our own little world in the Central Division, I mean, there's some big hitters, and to get through that gauntlet, it ain't going to be easy, but it should be a fun ride. And then you throw on top of all of that the compressed schedule on either side of, first of all, you got the World Juniors sending the team out of town for 2 weeks, and then you got the Olympic break.
Yeah.
I mean, and which is going to be awesome for guys like Nico Sturm and Matt Boldy, Brock Faber, but man, this is going to be a tough 82-game schedule.
And the back-to-backs are weird, aren't they? Yes. There's a lot of back-to-backs this year, which is going to be tough, but I do think that, obviously these guys are pros and they know how to handle it. Traveling with the team for many years, too, it's been pretty remarkable to just see what these guys do to prepare for something like that, and I know that a lot of people complained when the schedule came out that it looked unfair. I've never seen a schedule come out where our fan base didn't think it looked unfair. Right. I think they'll be fine, and I mean, think about all the young talent on this roster too that has a chance this year. Wallstad, Ogren, Yurov, there's so many young guys that if you're a Wild fan, I mean, how exciting to come out and see the beginning of these development phases for some of these young guys. You're really seeing them at square one. Even a guy like Ogren and a guy like Wallstad, who they got a taste last year, but it's a different situation this year. The expectations and the opportunities bigger for those guys. If you're a Wild fan, I mean, that's got to excite you to be a part of that from day one.
I think you're right. Chris, awesome stuff. Thanks for swinging by here, giving us a little bit of your time. How are you going to take in the rest of the you said you don't like crowds, you don't like lines, and you don't want fried food, so you're just going to get up and get out of here? You're going to go explore a little bit?
No, I do see that they have cold beer here, so I'm going to go check that out. You recommended a donut-flavored beer.
It's not a donut-flavored beer. It's a mini donut beer. Just take it at face value, go exactly that way.
Difference?
I don't know, but it doesn't taste like a donut. It just tastes like a mini donut.
Does it have a donut in it?
No.
Either way, I'm not going to eat
the rim is with the mini donut sugar. Okay. And so there's a little bit of an ale in the middle. Just trust me on this one. You're a beer guy. I'm a beer guy. I'm not going to steer you wrong. The mini donut beer, I only drink at the State Fair, but I drink it every time I come. So go ahead that way. You can try the chocolate chip cookie beer. But I recommend more the mini donut beer.
All right. Well, and please give my regards, give a velkommen and was gibst to Mr. Nico Sturm for me, please.
I'll do. He might say, was ist das? See, I know some German, too.
Yeah, das ist sehr gut.
Chris, thanks for doing this. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, Kevin. We'll see you later.
There he is, Chris Barrier from the Wild Marketing Department. We'll take a break, and then when we continue from the State Fair, It'll be our incredible and unbelievable experience to have with us Wild centerman Nico Sturm next on The Fan.
Thanks to Mesh Mesher and Spence. You're listening live to KFAN at the State Fair on The Fan.
Jan from Toyota here with live coverage of end of summer.
We're back at the Minnesota State Fair. Kevin Falness with you for another hour. Yes, I know there's a lot of football going on today, and we're in the middle of football season. But just for a couple of hours, we're taking a little bit of a break, and we're talking all things great about hockey and the state of hockey, and it includes my next guest. His name is familiar to a lot of you.
Nico Sturm, center, Augsburg, Germany.
Stick handling maneuver. Sturm scores. Russell is way in front. They do. They score. Shoot and score that time. Nico Sturm.
Waiting. Circle cross. Sturm scores. Nico Sturm, a shorthanded goal.
Yes, Nico Sturm joins me here at the KFAN booth at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. Nico, thanks for taking time to stop by and share your path here with your listeners.
Thanks. Beautiful day to be out here.
It is a beautiful day. I mentioned this at the start of the show. I've been coming to the State Fair for as long as I've been alive, and you're lucky if you get 2 or 3 nice days. Every day this year has been outstanding, and today's no different.
Yeah, Saturday, work week is done. You're going to have some good food, a couple drinks after, call it a week.
I tell you, I was sitting on my deck this morning having a cup of coffee, letting my dogs do their business, and I was legitimately cold. Put the jacket on. I'm like, all right, it'll be fine. We'll go out there, have a little overcast. There's barely a cloud in the sky. It's beautiful.
We last couple of years out in San Jose, we didn't really have seasons. So just having 4 seasons again, and the fall especially, I think is really nice in Minnesota, and we missed that quite a bunch out there in California.
And of course, we're talking to Nico Sturm, signed here with the Minnesota Wild around the 1st of July, back for another stint with Minnesota. So you have history with the state of hockey, with the Minnesota Wild, but also with Minnesota because your gal's from this area.
Yes.
So you played in Austin with the Bruins.
Yes.
So you know all about the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
Yeah, I usually try to make it out here once a year. Pretty much spent every summer here since I started playing pro hockey. Fiance, she's from Blaine. Her family's from there. A lot of ties here now. We made this our home, and feel very, very comfortable here. I think it's a great place to live and raise a family. So we're very excited to be back.
You say that, but you left us at one point.
Yes.
And now, of course, you're back, and we couldn't be happier to have you. In the time since you were a member of the Minnesota Wild, ho-hum, you go and win a couple of Stanley Cups, one with the Colorado Avalanche, one with the Florida Panthers. No one can begrudge your decisions, but man, oh man, what a journey it's been bringing you all the way full circle back to Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I left, contract was up. It's just, one of those things, part of the business. Also for me at the time, I wanted to explore whether I can play higher up in the lineup and be, a different kind of player than just getting fourth-line minutes. At the end, turns out this is what I am. This is the kind of player in the league that I am. I'm great at being a 4C, and but at the time it was just a career decision. It was never against the Minnesota Wild. So, you get traded if you don't come to a contract extension agreement. That's just part of the way this business goes. There was never any hard feelings, and I think the best proof is how easy these contract negotiations were this time around. It was just, as soon as I heard the offers there from Minnesota, I didn't even talk to any other teams. It was, let's do it, I'm signing.
It's so great to have you back, and the best part about it, there's many great parts about it, but the best thing from a strictly X's and O's standpoint, not only have you wrapped your arms around your role and the type of player that you are, but I mean, you fill a valuable spot here in the lineup that has been lacking for what feels like maybe even since you left. It's been that long, where a guy that can win faceoffs, that's one of your specialties, and a guy who can kill penalties, another one of your specialties. These are 2 glaring weaknesses with the Wild for I don't even know how long.
Yeah, it is one of those things where over the course of my career you try to figure out what kind of player you are. You try to carve out a role for yourself, and not everybody can be a top 6 guy, power play guy. We all like to score goals and have assists and be on the highlight reel. But for me, coming in as an undrafted free agent out of college, I learned pretty quickly that if I want to have a career in the NHL, my role is going to be different. And I accepted that. And now I just try to be great at it. And every year there's there's teams that need that specific type of player. Both times I got traded at the deadline when my contract was up. Part of the reason why Colorado and Florida wanted me is specifically because of that skill set. So, whenever I try to be the type of player that I'm not, it usually ends up hurting me. So over the last couple of years, I really started to embrace the fact that this is what you're good at. You can be one of the best at this specific skill set in the league, and it helps the team. And that's why teams look for you at the trade deadline every year. So I just really started to embrace that.
Yeah, it's a valuable role. There's no doubt. And like I mentioned in the first hour talking about we were going to have you on, the average fan thinks, fourth line center, he's going to get limited minutes. No, you do provide a very valuable role, not only in the middle of that, the bottom six, but also, like I said, killing penalties, winning faceoffs.
I mean, the role is different, and sometimes, you have to put your pride aside a little bit. And like I said, if you start embracing the fact that you might only get 8, 9, 10 minutes, and you're not going to be on a score sheet as much, and there's not going to be a lot of highlight reels with your type of plays, but your teammates and your coaches and management and scouts, they know how important you are to the team. And I think there's a reason I've been in the league for a couple of years now, and why I've been able to carve out a role for myself. And for me, there's I try to score, I try to make a nice play every once in a while. I love scoring. Everybody does. And when I get the chance to, I still work on shooting and passing and all that kind of stuff. But the core of my game is something else. And I really come to make sure that I hone those skills. I work on my face-offs. I come to camp in pristine shape. I'm first in the forecheck. I block shots. I'm good on the penalty kill. And that's the core of my game, and it will remain for the rest of my career.
Yeah, and you think about things that have changed from the time when you left Minnesota to now that you're back. Again, you had 3 stops. You won a couple of Stanley Cups. I was going through the roster, and I think there's 10 names that were on that roster in 2022 compared to when you are. So obviously, that's the business of professional sports. Right. There's going to be turnover. There are some familiar names here. Were you kind of excited to see some of those names and get reacquainted there with some of the key members of this franchise?
Yeah, really, really easy transition. I went back home to Germany this summer, but right after I signed, I stopped at Trier and picked up my new gear again, my old gear, depending on how you look at it, and.
But was Tony ready for you? Tony and Cliffy and Benzie?
Benzie, they were all ready. Worlds is still there. It's great. There's some turnover on the staff and the roster, which is normal, but it makes the transition and coming into a locker room much easier when there's a couple of familiar faces that you see. And even just living in the city and having lived here for many, many years now, it's like. You don't come to a new city. You don't have to look for housing, an apartment, and where do I do my groceries and all that small stuff, because it all takes away energy from what you're trying to focus on, which is training and getting ready for the season. So for us, I came here, hit the ground running. We had our place here for the last 2 years, and even being at the rink, it's just like where everything is, and you like I said, you hit the ground running and just go about your business.
That's the voice of Wild center Nico Sturm, back in the Minnesota Wild uniform, getting ready for a new year. We're just about, a month and change away. Training camp's right around the corner. The first game preseason is right after that. And then before you know it, we'll be dropping the puck on a new year of Minnesota Wild hockey. I want to ask you about 2 of your new former teammates. So you knew Kirill Kaprizov when you're here the first time. Now he's had some time in the NHL under his belt. And in my mind, and this is just my opinion, I'd say he's one of the top 5 players on the planet. You don't have to agree. You don't have to disagree. But I'm wondering what it was like being a teammate with Kirill in the early stages and what you saw of him when you were the adversary, whether it's in Colorado, San Jose, or Florida.
Yeah, when Kirill first came here, everybody heard all that buzz. There's just this guy who drafted it. Takes forever for him to get over here for the fans, it feels like. And you never know how, a kid adjusts living. It is quite the change, I would assume, for a kid coming in from Russia. And it was actually before the season started and we had our first captain skate. And, I saw him out there. I was like, he's legit. He's going to be a star. And as a player, you can tell pretty much right away whether somebody's got it or doesn't have it. And
he's got it.
He's got it. He definitely has it.
From jump, what was it like being playing against him? You were teammates with Sasha Barkov, teammates with Nathan McKinnon. What's it like going up against and trying to limit a guy like Kirill Kaprizov?
Yeah, I think all these superstar players, they have this innate ability to just, turn a game around whenever they want to. You might not even, they might have an average game or maybe a below par game, and then you look at the score sheet after, and it's like, oh, there he is, goal into assist, So it's like they always find a way to impact the game. And the biggest thing about them is when the pressure's really on, like when the lights shine the brightest, which is usually in playoffs, they find another gear, they find another level in their game, and they take the responsibility and put the team on their backs, and that's what you need to have success and win cups.
So, no offense, Kirill Kaprizov, Nico Sturm, not the same type of player.
No.
You're more in the line of a Jules Eriksson. That's the other guy I want to ask you about, a guy that plays that position, likes to get in the dirty areas, really draws the ire of opponents. What do you appreciate most about Jules Eriksson, the centerman here for this Minnesota Wild team?
Yeah, I love Eki because I just said earlier, sometimes there's a certain type of player where fans might not even realize how good this guy is, but your teammates do, and your coaches do, and managers do. And Eki is definitely one of those guys, and he's that prototype center that I try to form my game after. He's big, he's strong, he's a unit. Like you see him in camp every year. Yeah. He crushes the fitness test. He's good in the circle. Like you said, gets the greasy areas around the net. And not everything you have to do as a hockey player needs to be pretty. And I think Eki, has carved out the role as a 2 center in this league, and the success. And he's on the score sheet every a lot. And he's on the power plays in front of the net. Not everything has to be fancy and has to be on the highlight reel. He gets on the score sheet in different ways. Yeah.
I don't know that he enjoys getting punched in the face, but if there's anyone that relishes that role more than him, I'd like to meet him, because it feels like every game that guy's taking, someone's stick, the shaft of their stick, the punch to the face, and he just walks away from it. It has to be just maddening for opponents.
He's never actually rubbed me that way, that he's a guy that, but a lot of players say he has a very punchable face.
Apparently he does. Yeah. I've never felt that about him either. I've never once wanted to punch him in the face.
I think he's the nicest guy.
Well, that's funny. This is going to be an incredible year. You come back to Minnesota, and we get this 82-game schedule that's coming out. And there's a lot that's going into it. I was just talking to Chris Barrier a little bit about what this next upcoming season is going to be like. You guys are going to be on the road for a good chunk of December into January because of the World Juniors. Yeah. That's going to be a blast here in St. Paul and Minneapolis at both those rinks. And then you got the Olympic break, which I know for a lot of guys, it might be like, oh, my God, we get February off to go and sit on a beach. You won't, and some of your teammates won't either. What excites you about Olympic hockey coming up here in Italy?
It's great. It's been a long time since there's been best-on-best hockey, where you play the Worlds, and I think even the last Olympics, the NHL didn't go. So I think especially for us, Hockey Germany, we've tried to take a lot of strides in the last couple of years, and this will be the true test of where we're at as a country and whether hockey really has made strides forward. And for the fans, this is a chance to see the best players in the world compete in a very short and condensed schedule, a couple games. And I think you saw the buzz at the Four Nations last
I was going to say, if that doesn't whet your appetite, because that was amazing. This is just going to take
I was even like, I'm not sure I'm going to watch those games, because I was on All-Star break.
It's exhibition. Doesn't mean anything. Why bother?
And then I ended up being at the hotel bar every night watching the games, and how well received it was from the fans, and how intense and how physical those games were. Just a little teaser of what Olympic hockey is going to be all about.
So wave the banner for your country. Everyone talks about the Americans, the Canadians, the Swedes, the Finns. Team Germany is going to be a monster, yourself included. Leon Draisaitl, Stützle, Grubauer. You talk about some of the names that are going to make up that roster. That's not an easy out.
Yeah, no, I think for us, we've been trying to bridge that gap between, you mentioned those countries. They're the big dogs, Canada, U.S., especially when everybody's playing Sweden, Finland. And that's our challenge, to bridge that gap to those upper echelon teams. But like I said, especially in the center group, I think we're going to be very deep. We got Leon, we got Timmy, myself, Dominic Cahoon, we got Reichel, we got Peterka on the wings, we got Gruby in net, Sider is our number one D-man. Yeah. So we should be pretty solid. And, if you participate in the Olympics, you go there, why not go for it? I mean, it's only a handful of games, 2-week tournament. Just throw it all out there and try to be that guy that has a little, upset potential. Why not?
I was looking at your roster. I say don't sleep on Germany. You talk about the big dogs, and I think I saw John Cooper's quote, maybe even it was today, talking about Canada. He says, we got a Ferrari, but you don't just let a Ferrari sit in the garage. You always try to make it better, and that's what they're doing with the Canadians. Yeah. But I stress to any of the fans that are out there, don't sleep on Team Germany. Nico Sturm and company are going to have something to say to those big dogs across the world. Just a couple more for you, and we'll let you go. In your time, first stint here in Minnesota to now what's coming up as your next stint here in Minnesota, what's changed about you as the player? How have you grown? How have you matured? What's different about this version of Nico Sturm?
I think I'm just a more complete player. I think experience is something that you can't learn. It's just you have to go and play your NHL games. You have to get those games under your belt. And now, I'm probably, I've 250 more games under my belt than the last time I was here. And time goes by fast, which is also, I think how quickly those 3.5, 4 years have gone by. And I just think dealing with the ups and downs of an 82-game season, which every player has, impossible to be on your A game every night over the course of 8 months. So rather than having maybe an A-plus game and then 4 or 5 C- games in a row, maybe you bring a B- game more often, and that's the thing. And I think for me the biggest impact is penalty kill. We've mentioned it before. For me, it's going to be a huge focus this year because you want to have success, especially in playoffs. Tough when your PK is hovering around 60-65%. You need to pump those numbers up a little bit and give you a chance to win. There might be a game where your team takes a couple stupid penalties. You take 7 or 8 penalties. You might have to kill them all. There's going to be a game where your special teams and playoffs have to win your game, and that's going to be one of my focal points.
This could be a ridiculous analogy, but I'm going to try it anyway. When you talk about the big dogs in the world, there's also big dogs in the National Hockey League, even the Central Division. If I say the Minnesota Wild are the Team Germany of the NHL, this is a team that can do some damage. I look at it, if this team stays healthy, and I look at the pieces that are in this lineup, Kaprizov, one of the 5 best players in the world. You got center ice depth now, with yourself included. You've got the opportunity. That defensive core is as good as just about anyone in the National Hockey League, and you got a proven netminder in Philip Gustafsson. I look at the potential for this lineup going forward. I don't know that you want to compare it to Team Germany, but this is a dog that's got some bite in the league.
I think especially last year, it's losing Killer and Eki for that long time obviously hurt the team quite a lot, but I've always looked at this team as there's something there, and there's just that little last piece, something's missing that gets you over the hump.
Maybe it's you.
Maybe, I hope it is. But the biggest thing is to always be in playoffs. Yep. That you just get in, and then you got a chance. And for me, as much as signing here because I feel comfortable here and my fiance's from here and I've played here before, the biggest reason for me is, hey, this is a really, really good team, and you're going to have a chance to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs again. And then it's just about, all right, you find that juju in those 2 months that you needed, and hopefully we got the stuff that it takes this year.
And look at you just casually throwing in the word fiance. It just rolls off the tongue now at this point.
Yes.
How long have we been engaged? When are the wedding bells?
2 years, but we haven't planned a damn thing, so it's going to take a while.
Pretty exciting stuff, though. Is she here? Are you walking around the fair here?
Yeah,
alone?
we're going to be walking around, having a couple of drinks after.
What's your go-to when you're at the state fair? Where are you headed?
I get a Euro. That's the first thing I get, and then I'm going to get a crepe with Nutella. Usually, this is my cheat day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will there be some? I was mentioning to Barry before you got here. my go-to, anytime I'm at the State Fair, I'm going to have a beer, and I'm going to the mini donut beer. Are you allowed to, would you allow yourself a mini donut beer at the ballpark cafe over here?
Yeah, this is, like I said, Saturday you got your work done, you worked out, skated 6 times a week. Now you can lose a little bit, at least for tonight.
That's my suggestion, a mini donut beer. Dude, you gave me a ton of time. Really appreciate it. I know the Wild fans enjoyed seeing you up there at the Wild booth. Enjoy what's left of your off season, and we'll see you around the rink here real soon.
Thank you.
There you go, Wild centerman Nico Sturm joining us at the Great Minnesota Get-Together. We'll take a break, and then we're going to give away some Wild tickets. Who wants Wild tickets? Get in line. Let me know next as we do a little game here at the State Fair on The Fan.
This is The Fan broadcasting live from the Minnesota State Fair.
This Labor Day, the Home Depot is here to help you prep for the season. So no matter what you're working on, you can get your backyard ready for all the fall festivities. Refresh your garden with savings on a wide selection of colorful mums. Liven up your outdoor space with vibrant string lights. And find the perfect grill for your backyard barbecues this season from our wide selection of grills under $300. Get your fall project started this Labor Day at the Home Depot.
Hi, I'm Angela Warner for Warner Selling Appliance, and this year our Labor Day sale is one to shop. We'll take an extra 10% off already low sale prices, plus you'll get up to $100 back per appliance for up to $1,000 in bonus savings. Then, our delivery and install pros handle the rest without a scratch. Come see why Minnesotans have trusted family-owned Warner Selling Appliance for over 70 years. Shop our 9 Minnesota locations or visit warnersellion.com.
The Minnesota Star Tribune, Minnesota's Best Awards are out, and no surprise here, Luther Auto wins in multiple categories. Luther customers just like me have spoken and named Luther Auto part of Minnesota's best in not 1, not 2, but 5 different categories, including Best New Car Auto Dealer, Best Used Car Auto Dealer, Best Auto Service Center, Best Auto Body Shop, and Best Automotive Customer Service. That about covers it all. For any of your automotive needs, go to LutherAuto.com. That's LutherAuto.com.
You're at a ball game. A beautiful woman asks if you're in her seat. You fall madly in love and your team wins. Come on, call It's Just Lunch. Their experts get you on real dates real fast. Visit it'sjustlunchtwincities.com or call 612-355-2727.
This Sports Spotlight is brought to you by Capital One Saver Card, founding partner of iHeart Women's Sports. Did you know this year's Women's College World Series had an average of 1.3 million viewers across 15 games? And Game 3, giving the Longhorns their first softball national title, was ESPN's most watched NCAA softball game ever with 2.4 million viewers. Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining, entertainment, and at grocery stores with the Saver Card from Capital One. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Current Powerball is $1 billion. Yes, $1 billion. 6th largest Powerball ever. Download the Jackpocket app and get your free lotto ticket. Use the promo code AWARDS. That's promo code AWARDS. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. 18 or older. 19 or older in Nebraska. 21 or older in Arizona. Jackpocket is a lottery courier and not affiliated with any state lottery. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. Opt in for $5 in non-withdrawable lottery credits that expire in 168 hours. Ends on September 30, 2025. Terms at jkpt.co/draw5.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
Let's go! You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Crush this Labor Day with Steve's Appliances. Save up to 50% on closeout inventory with incredible pricing through September 10th. Their 7,000 square foot showroom is packed with unbeatable appliance deals. Enjoy next day delivery or same day pickup, plus free recycling of your old appliances. Get the guaranteed lowest prices at Minnesota's top appliance store. Don't miss out. Shop now at stevesappliances.com or visit their Mounds View showroom for deals that sizzle. stevesappliances.com.
Law and Order Criminal Justice System is back. In Season 2, we're turning our focus to a threat that hides in plain sight.
There's been a bombing at the TWA terminal. Just a chaotic scene.
That's harder to predict and even harder to stop.
That's why terrorism works. It doesn't care who you are.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Law and Order Criminal Justice System, and start listening now.
Now back to the Fan at the Fair, presented by Mesh Measure and Spence.
About 10 minutes from now, we got Pat Micheletti coming up. He might even talk a little football. He's no one-trick pony. Yeah, of course, we're going to talk about the Minnesota Wild, the National Hockey League, college hockey, and all things great in between when we talk about the state of hockey. But he might be able to get in a little bit of football conversation for those of you that are just dying to talk about the gridiron. When we are done, we're sending you out to the Shoe in Columbus. We'll get you an update on the Buckeyes and what's going on with them against the Longhorns. That's coming up at 2 o'clock. And like I said, Pat Micheletti in about 10 minutes. But what I want to do now is give away some tickets. It couldn't be any easier. You really don't even have to do anything. You might win it or you might earn it. It's a thing that we call this. Win it or earn it. So all you got to do, if you want to win these tickets, come up to the booth. I guess it would be to your left, to my right. Stand right at that window, and I'm going to hand you this bucket of Sweet Martha cookies. It's not full of cookies, but it's full of tickets. And all you have to do is draw it out of there. There's going to be some that are going to say win it. There's going to be some that say you have to earn it. It couldn't be any easier. If you have to earn it, it's a pretty easy thing to do. It's all written on there for you. So first of all, what is your name and where are you from?
Jody, St. Paul.
All right, Jody, I've got about 6 pairs of tickets. Some will be for the October 11th game, the home opener against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Some will be for the game against the LA Kings on October 13th. You're either going to just win a pair of tickets or you're going to have to earn it. It couldn't be any easier. Tell me your name again, Jody?
Yes.
All right, draw one out of there. Now you... Win it or earn it. All right, Jody, open that up and we'll find out what you have to do. It might be nothing. Okay, that says Wild versus Kings. And let's see if you have to win. This is just beautiful penmanship. Unfortunately for you, you have to earn it. And what that means, give me your best Kirill Kaprizov goal call. All you have to do, you can actually say it like this or you can make up your own, but you have to do it like you're calling a hockey game. That's how you're going to earn those tickets to see the Wild and Kings on October 13th. Are you up to the challenge, Jody?
Sure.
All right, give her hell. Let's hear it.
Kaprizov steps over the blue line, cuts to the middle. He shoots. He scores.
Oh, my goodness. That couldn't have been any easier. Congratulations. Just like that, you've got a pair of tickets to see the Wild and Kings. Put your name and phone number on that. Make sure I get that. I'll transfer you the tickets. Young man, come on up here. Young man. What's your name?
Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. I'm in my 70s. It might not look at it, so I can call you a young man, Jeff.
Well, in a couple of days, I'm going to be 69, so we're close.
Nice. Congratulations. Maybe we'll sing happy birthday. Maybe we won't. But congratulations. What do you got in that fancy glass of yours?
Good alcoholic beverage called beer.
All right. Well, you saw how Jody did it. Pull a number out of there. You might win it. Win it or earn it. Awesome, Jeff. All right, what number do you have there, first of all? Number 5. All right, pull that tape off of there. Did craft project with my kids. So you've got the home opener. Now, stop there. Wild versus Jackets. You, too, have to earn it. Let's find out what you have to do. Oh, this makes my day. You have to sing 2 lyrics, 2 lines from the State of Hockey anthem. Do you know the State of Hockey, the Minnesota Wild anthem?
Actually, I don't.
Okay, well, that's good because I supplied the words for you. I don't care to what tune you do it, but those are the words to the song. In some way, shape, or form, do it. You got a pair of tickets to the home opener.
A big blue line runs across our state. a line that can't be crossed. The day they try to take this game is the day the gloves come off.
That was really good. For a guy who's never heard the song, I think you nailed it quite well. Jeff, what I need you to do is put your full name and your phone number on that piece of paper. Make sure I get that, and you've got a pair of tickets. Oh, you're an old goalie. Who'd you play for? Where'd you play?
Bemidji High School and Bemidji State.
How about that? Go Beavers, right? All right.
3 years in a row we went to state when I played in the 70s.
Well, that is awesome. Congratulations. Welcome to the Minnesota State Fair. Name, phone number, make sure I get that. You're going to the home opener. All right, I probably have 4 more sets of tickets to give away here, and we'll start right here. What's your name, first of all?
Skylar.
Now, don't just put your grubby hand in my Sweet Martha's cookie bucket. I'm just kidding. All right, give me your name again.
Skylar.
Where are you from, Skylar?
Andover.
Big hockey fan?
Huge hockey fan.
Name 2 Wild players.
Kaprizov and Spurgeon.
Okay. All right. You passed the test. Thank you very much. Congratulations. I'll be in touch. We'll get you a pair of tickets. All right. Let's find out if you have to.
Win it or earn it.
All right, Tyler, you've got ticket number 4. Let's first of all find out for what game.
Home opener looks at the against the Jackets.
Wild versus Jackets. You need to, again, earn it. Let's find out what you have to do.
2 lines from the Wild Anthem.
Do you know the Wild Anthem?
Well, that guy just sung it, so I think I know some of it.
Okay, all you have to do, we supplied you the words and everything. It should be that easy. Go ahead and take it from the top.
We will fight to the end. We will stand and defend. Our flag flying high and free. We were born the child of the strong and wild. In the state of hockey.
Outstanding. You know what? That was very well done. Here's a pen. You've got a pair of tickets to the home opener, October 11th, Wild hosting the Columbus Blue Jackets. Put your name and phone number on there. Make sure I get that back, and you are going to go see your favorite hockey team in action. Oh, no. I got a Hawkeyes fan here. He's got the Iowa hat. You knew that was coming, right? What's your name? And I'll talk slowly if you're from Iowa.
Okay, I'm Kirk.
Where are you from?
Lester Prairie.
Oh, that's not Iowa. Why are you an Iowa fan in Lester Prairie?
I was just born in Iowa.
Okay. Well, welcome to Minnesota, where it's much better. Go ahead and grab one of those numbers. And you picked number 1. Are you nervous or are you excited?
A little bit of both.
Thank you very much. Big hockey fan out there in Lester Prairie?
Trying to be.
Another earn it?
We'll earn it.
All right, so what do you have to do to earn it?
Your best goal celebration after scoring in overtime.
All right, so this is how we do it, Mr. Lester Prairie. Go out there in the grass. You just scored a goal. You went top shelf on Patrick Waugh. How do you celebrate the goal? Oh, my. Someone check him. I think he might be having a seizure. Congratulations. You won. That was that easy. You earned a pair of tickets to the game. Put your name and phone number on that. Make sure I get it back. And it was just that easy.
I think we need to rename the segment to just Earn It or Earn It.
I have a feeling I know what's left, but let's go to the next young man here in line. Sir, what's your name? Where are you from?
Cole. I'm from Blaine.
Now, Cole, you're wearing your Timberwolves basketball paraphernalia. Are you too a hockey fan as well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll take your word for it. You got 2 to pick from, number 6 or number 2. Let's see what you got. You picked number 2. You just tore into it. Not delicate at all. That's okay. You got a pair of tickets to see the Wild and Jackets on October 11th. What do you have to do?
Win it.
You win it. That's it. That easy. I'll take that from you. Congratulations. I got one more pair. You took my pen, Iowa guy, Lester Prairie. Oh, there we go. All right. There we go. Name and phone number. Make sure you got all that on there and make sure I get it back. One last one. Let's see if you got to win it or earn it. What's the name of this game, Brett?
Earn it or earn it.
Yeah. What's your name, first of all?
Colton.
All right. Holton with an H? Colton, like Colton Gillies. You got the 6th and final set. It's to see the Wild and Kings on October 13th, and you win it. It's that easy. Congratulations. Enjoy the hockey game. Thanks for coming out. Take that pen, fill out your name and phone number, and make sure I get it. It's just that easy. I'm sorry, boys. I only had 6 sets, but that's quite a few. Congratulations to everyone who, Brett? Our newest game show here at the Minnesota State Fair, giving away tickets to see the Minnesota Wild at Grand Casino Arena. You get an opportunity here for the 25th season of Minnesota Wild hockey, and it should be a blast. Hopefully we see each and every one of you in St. Paul, or at least listening to it on the radio each and every night right here on FM 100.3 KFAN. We're going to take a break, and then when we continue, our good buddy Pat Micheletti is going to join on the phone and talk a little bit about the Minnesota Wild, a little bit about college hockey, what's going on up in Hibbing. We might even talk about the former Bemidji State Beaver that was just in our presence. We're having a lot of fun here at the State Fair right here on the Fan.
This is Kevin Gorg, and I'll give you hundreds of reasons to listen to Micheletti.
Whoa.
Good, hundreds. It's Beyond the Pond on the
Quick little update from Columbus. Ohio State holding on to a 14-0 lead over the Longhorns. 13:08 left to go. It says the fourth quarter. That can't be. It's got to be the first half. But regardless, when we are done, wherever they are in that game, we will get you out there live to Columbus starting right around 2 o'clock. It is the fourth quarter out there. I'll tell you, Brett, I listened to that Gopher game the other night, taking on Buffalo. That had to be a 4-hour broadcast. From when they kicked that thing off to when it wrapped up and Drake Lindsay was put on the shoulders of everyone across Gopher Nation, I think that game lasted somewhere in the area of 4 hours.
Well, and don't forget the 2-hour pregame show as well to get you set for that.
Yes, and then another hour after that where Mike Grimm tells you all about everything about college football. They do a great job on the broadcast. I just can't believe how long those games are going. So is that right? 13 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter out there in Columbus?
That is correct. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Looks like it's all about Ohio State trying to take down the number one team in the country. We'll join that in progress closer to 2 o'clock. Right now I get an opportunity to touch base with my close personal friend and my co-host on Beyond the Pond during hockey seasons, starting in roughly January. The one, the only, Mr. Pat Micheletti. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Kevin. How are you? It's great to hear your voice.
I'd be a lot happier and be doing a lot better if you were out here next to me in the great Minnesota get-together. What, you're too busy being a grandpa, or why couldn't you be out here with me today?
Grandpa, and then secondly, I didn't know if I was to come out there, it would have had to have been for the full 2 hours. And I don't know if you could have, I don't know if you're ready for that in the summer. So, hence I just decided, let's do it from home.
It worked out fine. I'm always welcome. 2 hours is usually actually not enough for us to be together.
Well, that's true, but I didn't know if you wanted me just for a short period of time, if you wanted me for the full 2, so I don't, anyway, here we are, and it's worked out fine.
So it's on me. I should have communicated better. Regardless, some Micheletti is better than no Micheletti, and glad to have you on the phone lines. We'll get into the hockey and do all that fun stuff and get an update on how you're feeling about the Wild, the Gophers, and everything else in this great sport of ours. But give me kind of an update on your summer. I've talked to you occasionally, I guess, since Beyond the Pond ended back in April or whatever it is. How have things been for you as we make our way to the new season?
Well, it's been a good summer. Took a 10-day vacation, which was nice. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of time with the grandkids, a lot of time, with family. My brother Don, obviously, fighting cancer. So, been at the Mayo one too many times this summer with him, but. Where did summer go, Kevin? Here we are, a month away from the season, so ready for hockey to begin.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. Again, going back to Don, first and foremost, we're all thinking about him, of course. How's he doing? The picture of you, him, and Joe at I think it was the alumni golf tournament at some point over the course of the last couple of months was one of my favorite pictures of the off season.
It was probably my best day of the summer. Just, they called me and they said, "Yeah, we're going to honor your family." And I'm like, "Hey, get those two there. I'm going to be there anyway. And, honor them. I don't need to be part of it. They won national championships. They were captains. They were my mentors. They were my heroes. And, but to share that day with them and what the alumni did. And it was just, it was really, really a good day for our family.
I see pictures every now and again, and I think, oh, that's a good picture. That one is immediately frameable, Pat. Get that blown up in the best production possible. Put it in a frame and hang it on a wall. It was that cool.
Yeah, it was. They did a nice job. They really did, and and they honored different alumni every year, and which I think is really good. It makes all the alumni feel part of the program, and I know the guys love it, and so it was a good day.
We'll get back to your favorite college hockey program and college hockey in general in a minute, but I've been talking a lot about the Minnesota Wild in the National Hockey League over the first hour and 45 minutes, and for good reason. I told people, I know you love your football, and we'll get you back to college football. The NFL's right around the corner, starting Thursday and beyond. The Vikings will be in Chicago a week from Monday, but let's take a breather here. Let's just give me this 2-hour respite, talk a little bit about the Minnesota Wild and what's going on for this upcoming season. I know there's still one big the cloud hanging out there in the form of Kirill Kaprizov unsigned, but they did get Marco Rossi under lock and key. What have you thought about the off-season pursuits for Bill Guerin to this point?
Well, I'm hot and cold on it, Kevin. I think the media and all of us and we all pointed to July 1st. 4 years ago, right? Or whatever it was, 3-4 years ago when Parisi and Suter were bought out and can have all this money and blah, blah, blah. And then we'll get the guys we need, whatever. And, this free agency was so different because of all years for the cap to go up, this was the year. And that just made a lot of teams have a little bit more money, and they were able to keep their guys, which then affected what was available in the free agency pool. And so, there wasn't a lot of guys, I guess, that were worthy of big contracts. And so, I think Billy was really smart. From that perspective, and just kind of filling a few holes that he needed. But, when I look at the season, coming up, and the team's going to be a little bit different, not a lot different. I am concerned, and you know me, Kevin, I'm really optimistic every year about this team, and rightly so. They make the playoffs, they win a lot of games, but I'm a little bit concerned on their depth. I'm a little bit concerned with guys getting injured. But every team has to go through that. But our team especially. So if they stay healthy and you get a guy like Tarasenko to have a little bit better year than he's had in the past couple, then the playoffs are right there.
Again, this is the voice of Pat Micheletti, my partner on Beyond the Pond throughout the course of the hockey season, usually starting late December, early January. We'll see where it gets going this season. What do I think about my thoughts on the upcoming season?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that they've got And there's nothing they can do about it. If it happens, it happens. But I think the thing that crushed them last year was injuries. We know that it's going to be a gauntlet to get through the Central Division, dealing with the Western Conference. The NHL has powers throughout the course of the league. But the best thing they can do to help themselves is stay healthy. And that's the one thing they have no control over. I think that, and I said this to Nico Sturm, I like what they've done with their center ice depth. They've got one of the 5 best players in the world in Kirill Kaprizov. Get him under lock and key, and I still think that happens within a matter of time. I like their depth on the blue line, and I think Philip Gustafsson has proven that he can win at this level. But if injuries start to hammer this team once again, well, then, throw it all out the window. You're scratching and clawing for anything you can put together.
Yeah, and I'll add one more piece, Kevin. When have we ever talked about a backup goalie, right? Yeah. Being critical. Now, we know Gustafsson is not going to play 80 games. What that number is going to be, who knows? I would venture to guess probably in the 55 to 60 range. But then you've got another 22 to play, right?
A lot of that depends on Volstead, right? I mean, it
really does because, for whatever reason, he had an off year last year, and, maybe it's all part of the maturation and all that kind of stuff. But he's got to be a guy who's got to win you some games because you're not going to go in and say, we can give this one up tonight, Volstead. You know what I mean? So he's got to be able to, he doesn't have to be great, but he's got to at least be a 500 goalie or maybe a little bit above. And but I think that's going to be a critical part of the Wild season because we know every point in this league is so important.
I think your backup goaltender is important most seasons, this year in particular. If you look at that schedule, Pat, you're going to spend a good chunk of December out of town because of the World Juniors. Then you got that Olympic break in the middle of February, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. The hockey's going to be amazing. But the schedule on either side of that is compressed beyond recognition. There's going to be night after night where they're playing these back-to-backs and these 3 and 4 nights. It's going to be a schedule like none other. And as good as Gustafsson is going to be, they're going to have to rely on that second option, which hopefully is Jesper Volstead, who's supposed to be the next coming, the backbone of this franchise. It didn't look like it last year. He's got an opportunity here now to put his stamp on his career, and it better happen this year, Patrick, because they're going to need him in a big way.
100%, Kevin. And you mentioned the glut of games before and after. This is such a prime opportunity for a guy like Urov, for a guy like Ogren, whether they start up or down or whatever, that those guys are going to be needed to play. I mean, with the number of games and the potential injuries and whatever, right, Kevin? These guys are they're going to get their opportunity to show what they can do. And guess what? It's not going to be a situation where they can say, I'm happy to be here. I've got to contribute. And so that'll be something I'll be looking at also.
We'll see how that goes. I asked Brett during Brett Blakemore's breakaways in the first hour his level of worry about the Kaprizov situation. I mean, obviously, that's a pretty important piece of this franchise. Are you worried at this point? Are you pressing the panic button?
I'm just going to let it go. You know what? Because there's nothing you can do about it. When he wants to sign, he'll sign. I think Bill Guerin laid it out perfectly yesterday. They're not going to talk every day. They're going to, and what gives me hope, Kevin, that it's going to be a done deal is when Kaprizov and Guerin are in the same room, they look at each other, they have a little conversation, and they get it done. And that's what I think will happen again. Because everybody needs an agent, right? And there's awfully good agents, there's tough agents, there's whatever. But mixed in the translation of that is the agent's looking out for himself to a certain degree also. But I just think if the player wants to be here, which I think he does, they'll probably get it done. We'd all like it done right now, right?
100%.
And not worry about it.
Wish we had more time. I got to go. Thanks for doing this, and can't wait to see your face here very soon around the rink.
Sounds great. Thanks, Kevin.
The great Pat Micheletti, thanks to Brett Blakemore, thanks to Nico Sturm, Chris Barrier, and a cavalcade of guests here at the Minnesota State Fair. That's it for me. We'll get you off to that college football game here in a matter of moments, but thanks for listening. Enjoy your hockey season. Enjoy your football as well, and we'll see you soon on The Fan.
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at Acrisure.com.